Opportunity here. My guest today in the first part of our second hour is Dovard Ross. We've been discussing Chapter 7 and religion and the educational implications that we have relating to that and to maintain the First Amendment rights. Mr. Ross is a CSUDH alumnus, I should say. He was a History and East Asian Studies major, and he was the founder of the East Asian Studies Society in the late 1960s. And he is a retired General Electric employee, and he is now an adjunct faculty member at the Compton College Junior College branch.
El Camino.
For El Camino at the Compton branch.
That's
right.
correct.
And so I welcome you,
well, thank you,
Mr. Ross.
Thank you.
One of the main aspects of your time here today is to discuss your affiliation and your as an off-campus advisor for, and I'm hoping I pronounce this right, and I need my little, the SGI, which is the Soka Gakkai International. And the founder of that is a peace activist for many, many years. But what I'd like for you to do is to just first describe what your role is and how you became involved with this organization.
Well, I've been, as we say, I've been chanting for 35 years, and I'll briefly touch upon that if possible.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about things that we use with our students, with our little things within our own practice, and we have incense. And
yes, I brought some prompts.
Oh, good.
So I have some props, I should say. Oh. So I'll show those to you in just a minute. But I've been, as I said, I've been practicing for 35 years, and my wife has been practicing a little longer. The SGI-USA, part of Soka Gakkai International, started with I guess Japanese war brides principally in the late 50s, and they were, of course, they were war brides married to American, as we call them, GIs at the time. They actually are the pioneers of this movement in the United States, and currently we have 12 million members in 192 countries. And there's 190 countries in the UN, and we're part of the UN as a non-voting, non-governmental. Yes, yes. And our basic belief is that the workings of the universe can be expressed or are expressed in a single principle or law. And that law is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And not the literal translations of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, it means devotion to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound. So this is when we say we chant, this is what we're chanting, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Okay, well, if you were going to repeat it, I'll say it slower.
Okay, I'll say it. Well, let me say this correctly.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Kyo.
Very good. So now
I just have to do it quickly.
yes.
And we know how much is yoga involved in this, or meditation?
No. This is an active religion for.
We want to make that distinction.
Everyday people.
And we want to make that distinction for our viewers.
That's correct. No, we believe in being active in our communities, in our families, in our lives. So this is how we're promoting world peace. And as you had mentioned earlier, peace activists, the history of SGI briefly is based upon the life humanistic philosophy of Nichiren, who was a 13th century monk in Japan. And we have priests, or we had priests, and I'll go into that part shortly. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here.
It's okay. And so when based on the history of the SGI, how did it reach the point where we are right now?
Okay. In 1928, a innovative educator in Japan by the name of Sunisaburo Makiguchi, right, in 1928, he became exposed to the teachings of Nichiren. And this life philosophy gave strength to his belief in changing the educational system of Japan at that time, which was geared towards students being prepared for industry and military. And he said it should be for the student, is student-centered and is humanistic, and that's what education should do. So his pedagogy was in that genre, so to speak. So in 1930, he started the Soka Kyoiku Gakkai, which is the Value Creating Society.
The Value Creating Society.
In education.
So you hear that, and it's based on an educational principle. And it's kind of like when we refer to Dewey, where we focus on the individual over the group.
Yes, yes. So
I always have to try to help our students
understand
the commonalities as well.
Being an educator myself, I understand. So during the 30s, the group was moving. It wasn't the forerunner of SGI. It was moving along. It wasn't very many members. He had the principal. One of the principals of the organization at that time was Josei Toda, who became the second president of the SGI. But going back in the 40s, during World War II, all religions in Japan had to subscribe to the government or the militaristic government's edict that they become part of Shinto, which is the worship of the national religion, worshiping of the emperor. Well, President Makaguchi and 19 others, they refused, and they were arrested as thought police, and they were put into jail. And unfortunately, President Makaguchi, he died in prison in 1944, and Josei Toda, after he was released, well, he was released just before the dropping of the atomic bomb in Japan. Wow. But he was released, and at that time, there was approximately 3,000 families that practiced Nichiren Daishonen's Buddhism.
Which had grown considerably since he started.
Yes, it has grown exponentially, yes. But I'm trying to get back to where I was.
We were talking about after the bomb was released.
Yes, okay, thank you. President Toda became the second president of the SGI in 1951. Okay. And after he passed, the current leader of SGI is Daisaku Ikeda. I want you to say it.
Ikeda.
See, there. So Daisaku Ikeda is our current president. May I look at this?
Sure.
Okay. So in 1960, he became the third president. And during this time, this is when we grew from Japan, one nation, to 192 different countries, and with 12 million members throughout the
and 192 are significant. And when when the organization became involved with the Earth Charter, that was something that the UN asked the world